So if you're running off to IKEA, really helpful and handy to have a drill ready to go, much quicker and easier than using a little Phillips Allen key. Some pretty cool features as well, but if you've never used a drill before, I thought I would show you the absolute basics. So starting out, you got your drill, here it is. Most of them have a way of tightening around the bit just by hand. Some of the old style ones, you have a little key that you put in, either which way. If we're using a modern one, what you do is you put your bit in that you want, then just tighten it, and there you go, it's good to go. Pretty much all drills will have forward and reverse. So forward drives things in here clockwise, reverse anti-clockwise generally screws things out. They'll pretty much all have speed setting, 1 and 2, 1 being slower, 2 being faster. For screwing, you want to use the 1. And then some drills will also have this little clutch function, which is when you see all the numbers there. Basically, it's how hard it screws things in before it stops. So really good for IKEA and furniture and things like that. If you don't want to over tighten things, it can rip up the wood, particularly if it's like a soft wood, which IKEA typically is. But to kind of show you how it works, we'll do a few different settings here. Surprising, screws are usually pretty hard to come by around here, but here we go, I've got 3 in my hand. So if we run with number 1, so this is the lower setting. Do it here so you can see. There you go, it stopped pretty quickly. If I up that to 6, screwed in deeper, but not all the way. Run this at 7, I think we should be good. Oh, not quite. There we go, so it's gone all the way in without over tightening. Whereas if we had have, say, used it on the drill function, this is kind of what it would look like. So you can see it's gone too deep in the wood, probably stripped the grip inside where the thread is. Pretty solid piece of pine wood, so hasn't done too much, but on some flimsy chipboard like cabinets and things like that, probably would have ripped a hole in it. So clutch is really good. Make sure things are tightened, not over tightened, but and all tightened consistently. So there you have it, real basics of using a drill. To undo the bit, you just turn it anti-clockwise. There you go. And something to remember, if you're doing masonry, brickwork, concrete, you use a head that looks like that, so a special masonry bit. Whereas if you're doing standard timber or steel drilling, looks like that. I'll show the 2 side by side so you can see them. So there we go, that's the difference. This one's got like a spade shaped head. So that's what you use for masonry. You can use a normal drill if that's all you've got, but ideally you'll have a hammer drive drill, which in addition to drilling also kind of vibrates or hammers it in. This is what they look like. You can normally tell because it will say if you go into the shop's hammer drive function, or you'll see some settings there, so you've got drill, screw, hammer drive. The hammer drive functions will be more expensive, but really handy to have if you're going to be doing stuff around the house, doing lots of wall plugs. Yeah, really helpful. So if you're getting a drill, I'd always recommend, unless it's kind of, it's a one-off job or small jobs, you can get away with a cheap drill, but if you're doing a lot of stuff in brickwork, definitely go for the hammer function. Cool. Whilst we're looking at drills, obviously really handy for screwing things together and of course drilling things. But if you're going to be doing a lot of work around the house, like putting wall plugs in to hang picture frames or something like that, you don't need what's called a hammer drive drill. You can use a standard drill, but you just got to make sure you're using a masonry bit. So if you have a look, that masonry bit kind of has a spade on the end. little bit different to a standard bit. So to compare the two, there we go. So that's what you would use for brick wall or concrete or something like that. So you can use a normal drill. If you can, and you're planning on doing a lot of work, really handy to have like a hammer drill, which has basically this switch, so you can say that's the hammer function. So you got your standard drill, what you use for screwing, which then engages the clutch, which we've talked about, and then the hammer function. So the hammer function, in addition to just drilling like normal, actually kind of vibrates hammers back and forth. So it just gets through masonry or brick walls, concrete much quicker. Just so you can see it. Standard drill function like this. Helps us forward. There we go, that's what it looked like on the wall. If you put the hammer mode on, you'll hear it kind of bouncing back and forth, so it gets through a lot quicker. And it's a lot cleaner cut as well. So they're more expensive, but if you are planning on doing stuff around the house, it's definitely worthwhile. Get a tool. I've had these for, this one probably only a few years, but generally, you know, most decent drills will last you kind of 8 to 10 years. So you buy it once and you've got it. There you go. All right, thanks.